Good evening and welcome to another Future Ready Librarian Learning Series for New Hanover County Schools. Tonight we are so excited to welcome Kristina Holzweiss to the program with us this evening. We're so excited to learn from Kristina, former School Library Journal, School Librarian of the Year, famous, infamous for her work with maker spaces and maker fairs in Long Island, New York. Y'all, it's such an honor and a privilege to have her with us tonight. So Kristina, I'm going to turn it over to you so that our people get as much time learning from you as possible.
Okay, so I just want to say hi to everyone and thank you for taking the time to come after school. I know it's a long day, so I just want to thank everyone. And if you see me looking this way, I'm looking at my other computer.
Say hello, guys. Come on. Hi. There we go.
So this presentation is called From Maker to Makerspace to Maker Expo. And basically how my journey began and what it is now. And I don't know what experience you have with makerspaces right now or making in your libraries, but you might be able to take some tips, maybe learn from my failures, and maybe even make more successes than I have. Okay, so there's my name, there's my Twitter handle, there's my website, Bunhead with Duct Tape, because that's how you fix things. And this is actually, it's through Microsoft Makerspace, and it was at ISTE in Denver last year, and they had a whole makerspace. It was awesome. So I brought home these templates of these 3 buildings for my kids, and these are the buildings that my kids made, and we actually take the little throwies, the battery and the LED, and we lit them up, and those batteries lasted for 2 or 3 weeks over the summertime. So that's what those are. Sorry, I'm clicking my mouse. Okay, so who am I? Well, I am an educator. I started as a teacher assistant for the ESL department, which is English as a second language. And I did that for about a year, and then I became an English teacher. And I was a 7th grade English teacher for 9 years. And I taught at the school that I went to. So that was kind of interesting. And then I said, well, can I teach for 30 years? Yeah, I can. But can I teach English for 30 years? And also, all the New York State tests were coming and things like that. So I was like, oh, this isn't fun anymore. I really love technology. I really love all these things. So I became a school librarian. So I've been a school librarian for 13 years and a teacher for 9 years, so 22 years. And I'm also an author, so I've been writing articles, blogs, and I do have some books coming out. I just can't say with publisher, and I can't say what they are yet, but they will be coming soon in October of this year. So I'm very excited about that.
We're getting a little bit of feedback. I'm not sure why, if that's us or you, but it seems to have stopped now, right? The minute I said something, it stopped. Okay.
How's that? Is that better?
Seems to be, yeah.
Okay, I think I had both microphones on.
Okay.
Good?
Yep, good. Thank you.
Okay. So, actually, I might as well just look at it this way. I have a video I want to show you later on, so that's why it's not going on my laptop.
Okay.
So I'm a strong advocate of librarians. In New York State, school librarians in the elementary level are not state mandated. So that means middle school, high school are state mandated, but K through 5 or K through 6, depending on the school, are not state mandated. So what happens is the last one's hired is usually the first one fired. And school librarians are usually replaced with clerks, or if they're lucky, someone who can learn how to check out the books, and not really lessons or anything, more like just what paraprofessionals can do. So I'm a strong advocate for school librarians K through 12. They belong everywhere. So SSLMA is our Suffolk affiliate of NYLA, which is New York Library Association. Then you see ASL and YALSA. ISTE is the technology, and NYSCATE is our New York State version or our affiliate of ISTE. So I'm an advocate for school librarians on all levels. And I'm a dreamer. So I just founded, actually last year, I became the president of my own nonprofit, Long Island Leads, and I'll explain why and what journey that was. And I am the founder of Slime, which is Students of Long Island Maker Expo. And this year we'll have our 3rd annual event. So I'm very excited about that. So my grandparents came from Europe. They're both Ukrainian. And when, you know, in old country, you don't make just for the fun of it. You make because you have to. And it was very, very interesting seeing how they got by with what they had. And this is literally true. My grandfather would use duct tape to mend his belt. And my grandmother had one of those pedal pusher sewing machines. And there, I still have buttons from her. I mean, she's passed away years ago, but I have buttons there. My grandfather, when he passed away, my sister was going through his old things, and he had a suitcase full of zippers. They saved everything, and they used everything. And we're so used to now just this throwaway society, where I came from a family where you use something and then you reused it until you couldn't use it anymore. So I really think the maker movement is so important, because I think we go back to our roots and the whole idea of sustainability and reusing things and looking at things in a new perspective. So making is not only an awakening, but a rebirth of what makes us human. You know, we talk about the maker movement now, maker spaces, as this new trend. It's actually not very new. It's been around for so long. It's been around since the beginning of time. Since man created the first wheel and discovered fire, we've been making, but we were making for a purpose. And we've gotten away from that. So I think this whole new maker movement now is that throwback to our past, where we would have to create things because we had to. And now it's so funny hearing people talk about, oh, did you hear about maker spaces? And I'm like, yeah, they've been around a while. And like I said, they've been around forever. If you're an elementary school teacher, you might know about Montessori and hands-on learning, even Dewey. And I find it very interesting that we're getting back to our roots. And I think that's really important. And that's my little daughter. Making is an opportunity to create something that once had existed only in our imaginations. It takes the learning from the page and puts it in the real world, where it's useful and it's three-dimensional, and it can become a part of us and it can come to life. So I really think that making is not a trend. It's something that's going to stay, hopefully. The idea of trying and sometimes succeeding, sometimes failing, I think it's more than just the making process. I mean, it's the process of making. And as librarians, you appreciate that, because it's a process of research. It's a process of discovery and learning. And all the skills that kids use when they research are the same skills they use in the science lab and the same skills that they use when they're making. They go through trial and error. They go through a process. They learn things. They learn more about themselves. They discover more about that topic. And if any of you have done this, you understand that those skills can be applied among the different curriculums. And through baking, we begin to see the world in new ways. They're not prepackaged ideas. The kids are actually creating their own knowledge, creating their own products with what they have. And it's so funny, because I think about when I was a kid and we made the dioramas. That was making. It was very low tech, but it was making. Or you made the mobiles, and you made the costumes for class, or even like sock puppets or paper bag puppets. We just got away from that for a while. We got back into this testing and data and all these things, when actually we really need to go back to our roots, our past. I'm going to show you a short video that hopefully it works. It's actually a screencast. I'm sorry, but I couldn't download it. This was taken at ISTE in 2013 in San Antonio. The beginning of this video is actually Kevin Honeycutt, who's wonderful information about the in the world of technology. And then there's my interview after that. I just want you to take a look at it. This was taken 4 years ago. So hopefully it comes through that way.
Well, as a librarian, I think we're in a perfect position. Kids can come to the library and we can use the books and we can use the technology and really research. The kids are used to close readings in the classroom where they read and they answer questions and they annotate and all those things. Well, we can do that too, but we're doing it in a fun way. My vision is to make my library a makerspace. I would love to bring in all those tools and bring in STEM and art and all those things into my library where the kids can experiment and play, where they should really be learning, but for learning's sake, and all those skills we just transfer into the classroom. That's my vision for Common Core, and I think that's the way we should go.
Were you able to hear that?
Yes.
So that was actually an interview at ISTE and about the Common Core. And I know we've all heard about the Common Core, but my vision was that a makerspace could bring those standards to life. Because when you really look at some of those standards, they are very exciting. But we've taken, well, I'm not going to say I did, but the people who've created the tests have taken the parts of the Common Core that were testable, that they could be done by bubble sheets or by computer exam. They took those parts of it and they tested those. But all the other elements we couldn't test, they ignored. So things like collaboration, communication, working together, stick-to-itiveness, grit, all those wonderful things, which are part of the standards, they couldn't test them. So they basically threw them out the window. And my idea was, well, in a makerspace, we can address all of the standards. And if whether your school has Common Core or not, you still have the American Association of School Librarian Standards and the ISTE technology standards. They're all wonderful ways that we can have kids experience and interact with the world. Just because, you know, people come in and, oh, makerspace, you just playtime. No, there's real learning going on, and there are standards. So that was like I just wanted to show you, that was a video interview 4 years ago of my dream of having a makerspace, and now it's basically come to fruition. Are there any questions while I go through?
Their shine will be real quiet, so we'll have to push them to talk later. Okay.
Okay. Actually, let me ask you, how many of you have makerspaces or have done any making in your libraries? Just with a show of hands. Okay, good. How comfortable do you feel with it?
Love it.
Love it?
Yeah, I love it. I'm just starting.
And it's hard to get the buy-in from the teachers because they do see it as playtime.
Why do you think?
Because it's not a testable standard.
Well, neither is empathy.
Yeah.
Right? Neither is joy. Neither is, you know, all those things we call the soft skills, but actually you and I know that those are the skills that will help our kids in the long run get along with one another and to get along in this great big world of ours. Those are the things that really matter. So this is my laboratory. These are just pictures of some of my kids. This is actually my Twitter header and my banner here. Sorry, custodian's running through with the little speed mop. So many makerspaces have a mission. This is basically the mission of our library or laboratory, 21st century learning for all students. So it doesn't have to be making. It could be reading, it could be writing, it could be researching, it could be making, it could be anything, and it's for all students. So if you're worried about buy-in, sometimes when we put labels on things, it kind of hinders us from growing. So sometimes something even as general as a little simple mission statement like this is okay. So our makerspace, and any kind of makerspace you're going to set up, you'll see so many blogs, you'll find books, so many ideas out there. It could be very overwhelming. I've created something very simple. Maybe some things are left out, maybe some things you can add, but I'm trying to make it very, very simple because it could be very, very overwhelming. So you definitely need support, you definitely need space, and you definitely need sense, both kinds. Sense as in money, and sense as in common sense, and a sense of what your kids need and what you should have in your makerspace. So on the left, you see a picture of my principal. She's wearing the blue jacket, and I really couldn't find many pictures of us because we're always really around doing things. But that's actually Scholastic, my book fair rep, and other people from Scholastic who had come to visit us, to visit our makerspace. Not last year, the year before, after I had been named the School Librarian of the Year. And so I just want to show that, you need support from your administration. You need support from teachers, from other people, just someone you could bounce ideas with. And just, if they're not going to support you with, let's say, money, at least maybe they could support you with a sounding board. Or some people can support you with money, but they don't know how to handle it. You have to find people who could support you financially or emotionally, those kinds of things. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And on the right, you see some of our kids. So this year we created a Techspert program. I'm still in the stages of next year. I want to tweak it. I've learned what went right and what went wrong. So I do have some ideas of what I'm going to change. But if you're alone and you have no help in the library, a makerspace can be very overwhelming. It can get disorganized, it can get messy, all those things. So if you're one of those people who needs everything neat and in a place, it's going to be very difficult. Well, recruiting some of your students to help you is a great way of doing it. So here are some of our 7th and 8th graders, our Techsperts, and they're wearing badges, and we have the library transform badges they're wearing, and they help with charging the robots, putting the Chromebooks away, putting the iPads away, checking kids into the library. I have one student who's brand new at the Techspert team, who's a 6th grader. He's working with the 3D printer, just all along, like helping kids, with the Legos. Just, you need a lot of hands, you need a lot of management. So recruiting your students is a really great way to get support, and they have an ownership of their learning, and they can feel that pride when they help their peers. So don't forget about the kids. They can really do a really good job helping you. So this was my makerspace. Actually, this was a better version of my makerspace. My first makerspace was basically a box of old yogurt containers and bottle caps. I mean, I still collect bottle caps. So this was maybe a few months later. It's not much, but I knew this is how I wanted to start. I knew I wanted to start, and I wasn't going to wait for money. I wasn't going to wait for funding. I just asked, parents who came in to help with the book fair, I asked them for donations. You'll see Connect 4. There's a box of, there's a bin of, I don't know, remnants over there. I'm not sure. I love the little bookcase. You'll see those clear boxes, and those, let me just go like this. Those are scrapbooking boxes. I love them because they're great size, and you can put anything in there. We have perler beads. We have the snap circuits. I mean, we had a few things, but not much. And this is our makerspace now. Well, part of it. So you see there, I mean, basically, I bought new furniture because I just wanted it to be really fun, very vibrant. You'll see we have a wind tunnel here. This was from our slime event. Over here, we have these magazine racks that collapse and they move around, which is really great. You really need storage. So I've used book book carts, and I've used this pottery cart. You could put things on there. And in fact, I'm sitting at my library right now, and you can see our makerspace right now. So I highly recommend trapezoid tables because you can create little pods like this. Or right now, I have 2 classes coming in to do research. So we're not doing much making during those periods. So one class is in our reference section, and the other class is in our makerspace, and our tables are set up like a snake. So the teacher could sit at one end and basically see all the kids at one time. So flexible furniture is a must because making happens all over in my library. This is officially the makerspace, but it doubles as a research area, it doubles as a classroom, it doubles as a testing area. It's not just a makerspace. If you do scholastic book fairs, I highly recommend this bookcase. This bookcase right here. I didn't have enough room for the awesome or epic Lego wall, so this was my awesome Lego wall. When you turn the book, this cabinet, it's magnetic. So we took Lego base plates and we glued magnets on them, and we put them on the back of it. So it was a portable, awesome Lego wall, not an epic one, but at least we can use it. And here we have kids using the makerspace. And then down here is our reading area. We have nice bistro tables. And then I hung 2 maps. They're actually shower curtains of Bed Bath Beyond. And one is a map of Europe, and one is a map of, map of the world, and the other one's of the United States. And you would be surprised how many kids look at those maps and say where country they're from or where they're going on vacation. They're really, really great. People think, oh my God, you have shower curtains in the library. But the maps are really awesome. Now, I'm fortunate. I do have space. I do have 2 storage rooms. So there's one behind me right now, over here, through that biohazard door. And that used to be this magazine room here. And those are all our magazines that I was keeping. The other ones, these are like Discover magazine, Scholastic, that I would keep. So what we did was we took those magazines and I found an empty shelf and I crammed them in the library. And then I put part of our makerspace supplies in the back room. So we have some experts here working on processing some of the projects, some of the materials in the back. And that's where I store the robots and anything small, like the Ozobots are really small. Or, glue. I'll put out a few that they can use, and then that's like my hoard in the back. And then this way I could bring out more supplies, because if you put out all the supplies, they'll use everything. So basically you need a back room. I have another back room over there, but that half of that was split and that's taken by the speech teacher, and the other half is basically full of cardboard. Cardboard takes a lot of room. Now, cents, money, that's a biggie. So I wanted a makerspace, but I didn't want to take our budget to use it. My feeling was the budget that was given to me given to the library from our district was voted on by the parents for books. So I never used those supplies. Well, I did buy the tables, I'm sorry, but I never bought anything else, any makerspace supplies from our budget, because I felt that books need to come first, whether they're reference books or research books, nonfiction, fiction, those need to come first. And I felt like that was my obligation to our taxpayers. And anything makerspace related, that I would have to work for it, because that was my dream. So you see here, we were actually a recipient of one of James Patterson's grants last year, and we were able to purchase some Chromebooks for our library and some books. Chromebooks and iPads are great for a makerspace because you can do so much digital making through free websites. Scholastic book fairs are awesome. We've had one every year since I've been here, and sometimes we even have 2. We have one in the fall and one in the spring. And sometimes we take the money and sometimes we take points. If you take the money, then we could purchase other things with those things that are not available in the catalog. But recently, Scholastic has been adding more makerspace items. So they have Makey, they've added little bits, they've added other things, and they also have furniture. So sometimes we'll take the points and we'll use that. So I feel like I'm not taking from our book budget.
We're all real jealous that you have a book budget.
Oh, and you know what? I feel like it's never enough. In New York, we are, according to the law, we are allowed there. We put in for, okay, let me back. Every child is basically entitled to $6.25. Basically, we take the number of children we have in our school and multiply by 625, and our schools apply to New York State, the government, and that money comes back. It basically comes to us for the children. If you get more than $6.25 per child, that money has been basically by the taxpayers. So how do you purchase books in North Carolina?
Excuse me, is that just for the library when you use that figure? Is that money that's just for the library or for all things for all of the students?
No, just for the library. Although when you look at it, there have been some districts that have taken that to mean software and things like that. So there have been a few loopholes here and there. But for the most part, districts respect that money from the government as library money. Although you will have a principal here and there who might say, oh, we want books or things like that, and they'll take it out of the library budget. It really depends on the building. But for the most part, that's what is supposed to happen.
In North Carolina, each district is allotted a per pupil allotment for instructional supplies, as you mentioned. I don't know the dollar amount per pupil, but the district is for in all of instructional supplies and instructional services. And each district can decide if they want to create a line item for things like technology or libraries or other subcategories under instructional services. And for many years, our district did have a line item for libraries, but it was removed in 2008. And so what that means is that dollar amount that was allotted to libraries was folded back into the entire amount that a school got, and it became principal's discretion about whether or not or how much they allotted to the library after that. So it varies from school to school, but there's no mandated budget for books.
Again, according to New York State, we are allowed the 625. My district honors it. There might be districts that don't honor it. I don't know. Like I said, there are little loopholes here and there, but they're supposed to do it that way.
We're just all real jealous, that's all.
You know, and I was jealous of other people. So now this perspective, I'm understanding more what it's like out there. So I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, what do you do?
We advocate for funding at a school level. I advocate unsuccessfully at a district level. And then we supplement with many of the things that you talked about, book fairs, grants, PTA, other things. And of course, the success of that depends on the school itself and often, the community's ability to contribute, et cetera, et cetera. So our efforts in terms of funding are just varied from school to school.
Sometimes it's money to make money, basically.
Yep.
Right. Well, have any of you used Donors Choose?
Yes, we do Donors Choose and all of the things, but we just don't have a sustained investment in our libraries in this district.
You know what? I don't have the answer for that.
No, I'm not asking you for the answer. I'm just sharing what it is.
Yeah, no, I really feel like I want to think of a solution.
Me too.
I don't understand that. But again, I'm in it like you are, and of course we're not going to understand that. Some of the states have more value of libraries than others. This has been, Right now, who knows what's going to happen next year? You know, I know it has not gone up from 625 for years. It's been like that.
But
I'm
we
just
continue
happy
to do
for that
great.
to go away.
We continue to do great work for students with what we have. So keep telling us about how we can include makerspaces with that.
Okay. Well, there we go. Sense. So you see that read sign? That's all bottle caps. I hoard bottle caps. I have boxes of them. And this is a young girl, and for Earth Day, we had water bottles, and she cut it up, and she made flowers out of it. We had magnets. So I am a really big proponent of, it doesn't take a lot of money for a makerspace. It doesn't take a lot. I mean, I'm not going to be Pollyanna and say everything's perfect, but I had a librarian say to me last week, "Oh, I have a lame makerspace." No, you don't have a lame makerspace. You have a great environment for learning. That's what you have. And the makerspace is not the space, it's you and your children. That's what's more important. Bottle caps, cardboard, all those things. Very simple snap circuits. You don't need to spend all that money, you know, for like, and I'm not going to name any brands, but you don't need to spend the big buck on the newest and everything. Simple is best. We do have a 3D printer. Again, that is through Donors Choose. I work really hard on just getting these things for our kids. If I didn't get it through Donors Choose, I wouldn't have gotten it. So I have a value on every level of making. And very simple, we have a kids kindness card. It doesn't cost anything to be kind to people. So there's actually a website called Sending Smile, where your kids can create postcards and send to sick kids. That doesn't cost you anything. They actually give you the postcards. This is an old canvas that we painted white, and now we recreated it, and we're going to give it to a family for the Habitat for Humanity who has a new home now. So it doesn't really cost a lot to do these things. And this is the Flipgrid. I don't know if you've ever seen Flipgrid where you can record your voice. This is awesome. Right now we have, it's called Flipgrid, I believe Flipgrid 1. And what you can do is you can just record your voice and video, and kids can respond to you. So if you want to write this down, I'll send it to you later. You'll see interviews for all our kids on Flipgrid. And again, all of the makerspace things that you see is because of Donors Choose and the book fair. Nothing is from school. So don't think that, you know, that is a problem, you know. So slime. So after we had a makerspace about a year, I said, well, I want to go bigger. I want to invite everyone over to our party. So we came up with slime. Students of Long Island Maker Expo. Everything from recyclables to robotics. So you see here, that girl on the left, her dress is made out of Dorito bags and old passes that kids use when they go to the library. For our first slime, I started planning it in December for our event in May. I had nothing, absolutely nothing but a dream. My principal said I could have the event here at the school. I had nothing. I literally went down and I put 2 bins in the cafeteria. And I told kids when they were finished eating their chips to put the chip bags in the bin. And I brought them back to the library and I cleaned them all out. At night, when the kids came in, they brought in their passes. I gathered all the passes the kids had written during the day, and I kept them in a box. I went to the Xerox room, and all of the paper the wrapping for the reams of paper, I took all that. I literally had nothing until 2 weeks before the event. I won a grant by Farmers Insurance Adopt a Classroom by voting. And that's where I was able to get paint and glue. Before that, I had nothing. I was saving tuna fish cans, cardboard. My principal was saying I had basically a fire hazard in my storage room. It can be done. And I had 400 people come that year. It's an interactive day of making for all Long Islanders, and it's STEM and STEAM and learning and library and everything you can imagine. It's basically a maker fair, but without the brand Maker Fair. So in 2015, we had 400 participants from 32 towns. For us, a district is a town. A county, we have 3 counties on Long Island, and we have multiple towns. 2016, we had 600 participants, and this year we exceeded 1,000 participants. I hustle, I email, I call people, I don't sleep, because I wrote a check to rent a local museum, and now I have to pay the bill. We basically started in our school, and I wanted to invite more people, and we grew bigger and bigger. So I went to a local museum. I created a nonprofit just so I could have a bank account, and literally I have a bill that I have to pay. So when you get desperate and when it all rests on your shoulders, you get very creative and you get very hungry, and you really, I feel like if you gave me $1 million right now, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I am so used to writing grants and going to the clearance rack. I literally met some woman on Craigslist in the parking lot of a local store because she was cleaning out her mom's attic of old yarn and ribbon. And I met this woman who I'd never met before, and she gave me a box of old arts and crafts. That's how desperate I had been. So planning slime is very similar to planning your own makerspace. Logistics, funding, and marketing. You need a location and a date, support, volunteers, participants, and activities. I was able to use the cafeterias here in our middle school. My principal, she put in the paperwork, she said I could use it. And it was literally just me. No one else knew what I was doing. I would meet with my friend, my colleague who was a teacher. She basically became my mentor, but I had no help. I was literally coming home late at night every day, 9 o'clock, because I wanted this show to go on. That's my library during slime. You need a location to store stuff. I saved everything because it was like I lived during the Depression, it seemed like. I didn't know how many people were going to come. I didn't know what I was going to have. I mean, I was saving old socks so I could put rice in them, make rice bunnies, old markers and crayons. I mean, you're laughing at me. I mean, that's my library. Volunteers. There's one of our students who's making buttons. I had some kids stay after school and librarians from other districts. My husband works for the local utility company. They came after school and they put together those 2 Lego, they're whiteboards, and we put Lego base on them, big Lego boards. If you were willing to help me, I was willing to take it. Participants. When you say to someone, I'd like you to come to slime, they have no idea what you're talking about, and they think it's the most disgusting word ever, and you try to explain it, and you just can't. Once they're there, they can't get enough of it. They love it. But the first thing when we did it, I was like, oh, do you want to come to slime? And they're like, well, what's that? Students of Long Island Maker Expo. Well, what's a Maker Expo? I mean, you really have to talk it up. It's marketing, explaining things. But here's a technology teacher. This is another school that came, and I'm Ukrainian. That's a woman from our church who came to show people how to decorate an Easter egg. If you made something, if you did arts and crafts, or you did anything, I was roping you into the event. We had several different activities. Make and take. Maybe the child could take something home, make a demonstration. That would be like 3D printing or robotics that someone would show you what to do. Make and participate was our cardboard challenge. Make and compete was our treasure fashion show. And make and was we would create things and give them away. So here's one school who came, and they were doing the prints. So they had these rubber fish, and they had their paint, and the kids made their own prints. When you work together, so much better, so much more can happen. I didn't have to worry about these supplies because this school came. I had to worry about other things, but I didn't have to worry about everything. This is our high school robotics team. They came. So they were demonstrating how to use robotics. That was one thing that I didn't have to worry about, and they could show off what they were doing. Anytime you can get people together to help you and showcase and highlight what is great about their kids and their school, that's when the magic can happen, because you're working when you work together, so much more can happen than when you're working alone. You know, collaborating with teachers and other librarians is so powerful. Think of that for our makerspace as well. Make them participate. I saved so much cardboard. Like I said, the custodians were actually going to like report because I didn't know what I had. I stayed late that night and I just carried all those cardboard boxes into the elevator and brought them downstairs. Went and did another and brought them downstairs. Cardboard is one of the cheapest things. I mean, if you buy things at Amazon Prime, you have what you need for building. You just get the box cutters, some duct tape, and some glue guns, and you can start inventing. So, has anyone here done the King's Arcade or the Cardboard Challenge?
Yes, no, yes? No. One yes, rest yes.
Oh, I highly recommend that you look on YouTube for King's Arcade, CAINES, and the Global Cardboard Challenge. You'll get some awesome ideas of what you can do with just cardboard. There's also a milk carton challenge where you take the little milk cartons and you wash them out. You just Google it and look for those pictures of the milk carton challenge. People have made cars, full-size cars. They've made houses. They've made all these things out of just milk cartons. So cardboard is your friend. I save paper towel tubes. I save cardboard. I save, here are my tabs for my soda cans. Okay, that's gold for me. That's real. That's mine. That's gold. What I even do, I take the soda cans. My husband told me this, and now he's afraid he did this. I take soda cans and I use a can opener, and I take off the lid, and then I take scissors and I cut the soda cans into round shapes so they won't cut any kids. And then I give it to the kids, and they use foot cutters, and then they can put them out and make their own jewelry. When I go to Home Depot and Lowe's, I don't know if you have those hardware stores near you, I take my kids and we take all the paint samples. I go through, I just take every color, I get a whole bunch of them. People look at me when I'm walking out. I always buy a little something so they don't look really silly. But what we do is we take scrapbook punches and we cut them into squares, and then you can make Minecraft mosaics. Or we make bookmarks, or we build those things. Paint samples are the best. But don't tell anyone I do that. This is awesome. You want to get buy-in, you want to do an excellent event, do the Trend Fashion Show. This is our last year's winner. This is awesome. Her dress is made out of Dorito bags. That whole thing, Dorito bags, the crown, everything. And then she has her entourage. The rules for the Trash of Fashion Show, you could wear clothes underneath. Please do, the leotard and the stockings. But most of them had to be made out of recycled materials. The kids love it. Last year, we had 20 teams compete. I know you've probably heard like STEM nights, curriculum nights, things like that. Get your whole community together and throw a Trash to Fashion Show. That is awesome. If you want buy-in on a makerspace, appeal to their heart. Here's our Make and Donate station at Slime. We took 4 t-shirts. I asked guys, I want extra large. I'm a big guy. And we cut off right underneath the armpit. Right? So now the 2 sides are already sewn in. You have the top and the bottom. The kids stuff them and they sew them, and then you donate them to a local animal shelter. We did the Habitat for Humanity sign. You can do so many things to help other people through maker spaces, and then you can have people that come in and help you. We teach how to knit scarves, maybe how to, we made bags for the homeless. The kids decorated them. Then they went to the local dollar store, and our Lions Club donated money, and we stuffed those bags with toothpaste and socks and soap, and we donated them to the local church. Not everything has to be by a standard. And funding, like I said, I won that grant only 2 weeks prior to that, and then that was paint and the glue I had bought. But the bottom picture, that was my back room, and that's a good picture of that room. I just saved every piece of garbage that I could. Seriously, my principal came in, she's like, you have to take care of this. I said, just 2 more weeks, Lauren was coming. I had to make sure I had enough stuff. I threw out a lot that I didn't need afterwards, but I was very nervous. I didn't know what I would need. Cardboard is awesome. Now, on the left here, we have Bloxels. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bloxels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bloxels, you can make them video game. So Bloxels is actually, they came to our slime last year, and they will be on to our slime this year. Make friends with your book reps. If they can't bring you money, they can at least bring you books. And books are great as prizes. So here is our capstone rep, and with the slime book right here. And like I said, make friends with them, give you prizes. They want to promote their products too. And then this is our Suffolk School Library Media Association. So it was, you know, they make a button. They took little marbles and they took pictures and they would cut them out and put a little glue, and put it like almost like a magnifying magnet, and put a magnet behind it, and then the kids took them home. So you don't have to be very creative. This year we have Mackinazar, a sponsor, Capstone, Flipgrid, Bloxels, and a local company, A+ STEM Labs. If you're afraid of doing something, just do it. That's my advice. Because if you keep thinking about it, whether you're going to do it or not, you're not going to do it. And sometimes I have found in my experience that people will give funding, companies will give funding for you if you are trying to do something, whether you fail or succeed. So I can say to someone, this is our 3rd annual slime. If I go to someone and say, this is our 1st one, it doesn't have that same reputation behind it. But after having done it a few years, I could say, well, we've had people before, we've had people last year, they'll have people this year. So don't think it's only going to happen the first year. It's like a makerspace. It's not all going to happen the first year. That's what I thought. I'm going to build this great place and I'm going to get all this funded. No. Yogurt containers, cardboard, start small and make it simple for you. My number one problem was I kept trying to get more and more things, and then management is more and more difficult. Start simple, start in your comfort level. It is such a thing as growing too quickly. And those are marketing great. So we have a website for slime, we have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter, and we've used a website with us. I'm sorry, my phone. So marketing. Our very first slime, we had 400 people come. It was not mentioned in the newspaper. It was not mentioned on the radio. It was not mentioned anywhere except for my big mouth. That's it. I went on Facebook, I went on Twitter, and I just kept saying slime, 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 slime. And the winner of our Trash of Fashion show the first year was a homeschool student. She wasn't even in my district. She didn't even go to school. She was homeschooled. And I just kept plugging away on Facebook, and people were like, so that my friends and family were like, oh, please, no more. But that's how we got 450 people, 400 people that come the very first year, because I kept pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. People think, you think that people know, they don't know. You think that you're annoying them, keep annoying them. Jen, you're talking about advocating. One day someone's going to listen. You had to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. It's not going to happen the first time. It's not going to happen with the first person, but one day you're going to get the right place at the right time, and the right person's going to hear you. So the maker movement is a movement of people, not of things. This is actually a picture taken at the Eisenhower offices across from the White House. These are people who are all over the United States who are representatives of the maker movement. And I was fortunate to go to that because someone brought me to the table. A friend of mine, Adam Bello, invited me to that table. I would not have gotten to that on my own. You need to network with other people. You need to associate with other people. You need to invite people to your table so they invite you back to their table. You really need to make connections. When we were there, we all received this coin. It's a challenge coin to go out and take the challenge of connecting people. And this is a picture from my local, the Aviation Museum, where we're going to have our next slime. That's a picture because we were very important in the aviation here on Long Island. I'm telling you that it's important for you to take the challenge. Whatever challenge it is, take the challenge, take the risk. What's the worst that can happen? We tell our kids it's okay to try again, it's okay to fail, but if we don't model that for them, then there is no point to it. We can't always succeed. People think that, things just happen overnight. I've thrown the dart many times and I have missed way off the mark. And I've gotten in the bullseye and I've gotten so close that it hurts. But if you don't throw that dart, you'll never know what's going to happen. So I just keep on throwing it. And this was my vision was everyone has a seat at our table. I want everyone to have a voice. Parents, students, community members, educational companies, nonprofits, administrators, educators, librarians, and museum directors, everyone together. That's my vision of our slime. It's the event, it's the expo where everyone is united. A makerspace at your library can be a place where it connects others. Don't lose sight of it's not the things in your makerspace. It is the people. It's the change that happens. It's the child who walks into your library and he's having a bad day, or the girl who walks into your library and she feels like she doesn't belong, and they walk out of your library and they're a different person. It could be for making, it could be making relationships, it could be for making connections with a good book, it could be any of those aspects. But that's how you change lives. That child is different because of what you did. And it's not the makerspace. It's not the stuff. That just, that's just fluff. That attracts the kids. But you're the ones who really make it happen. And so this is our nonprofit, Long Island Leads. And our mission is to learn, educate, advocate, develop, support. When people think, oh, you have a nonprofit, I have nothing. I started with $500 and I started doing the paperwork and making copies and doing these things and making a bank account, and I literally have nothing. I'll be happy if slime is an even off this year. If I have to put a little bit of money into it out of my own pocket, I will, because I'm really deeply passionate about it. I want to help people change. I want people to come see librarians and museum directors and companies. I want people to say, well, I didn't know libraries could do that. I didn't know that this was down the block from my house. And I feel like that's my mission, to unite people together. And so we have monthly maker meetups. Mostly we go from library to library. And we might have only a few people come, but I'm very proud of our last meeting. Our very last meeting, we had school librarians, we had a local administrator from another district, and we had a financial planner. He had no idea who we were. He saw it on Eventbrite and decided that he wanted to come to our this local library, which is not even mine, but it's fabulous. Come to the library because his idea was he wanted the belt buckle out of the logo of his company. And he saw that we were talking about 3D printing. So he came to our meeting. And so we were able to share with this businessman how important libraries are and museums and our children. We would never have that discussion with him had we not advertised it. We all speak to each other. We all preach to the choir. We know the story. I might not know about your funding. You might not know about some of the issues here in New York. But the people out there need to learn more. The parents need to know. Companies need to know. People just take things for granted unless you speak to them. And so this year is our third annual. I'm very proud to say that we're connecting a lot of people on Long Island. We're going to have a panel. We're going to have Todd Burleson, the School Librarian of the Year, come this year. We're going to have the finalists come from Massachusetts. They're coming because I asked them. They're coming because I asked them, and they took the invitation. I asked them to come to my table, and they're taking. They could have said no to me. And I expected Todd to say no to me. Massachusetts, that's drivable. I expected Todd to say no. He said yes. You never know until you ask what the answer will be. I've heard a lot of people say, well, it's not going to happen. Well, if you don't believe in it, there's no reason anyone else should. I think I've explained everything. Are there any questions?
What do y'all, I mean, golly, that's a lot. I've been taking some notes over here. It's a lot. What questions and comments do y'all have for Kristina?
I teach middle school, so I can take anything you say.
I had a question about the management aspect. Earlier in the broadcast, you were talking about how, you know, you do on the days when you research and things like that, you can't necessarily do makerspace. Is there time in your calendar, certain days that you make? How do you do that? How do you manage that?
Well, there's certain times that we have 9 periods of the day. So I'll tell you what the last 2 weeks have been. Actually, this month will be a lot of research papers. This is that research paper time of the year. Earlier in the year, we have more making going on because it's just the schedule is a lot looser. We have a flexible schedule. So teachers sign up, and then we have kids coming from study hall and from lunch. So it's not an elementary school where you have classes every day. One day I could have a ton of classes, and another day I could have no classes. So it's really feast or famine. Yesterday, I had 2 classes in at the same time, 5 periods. So one class was in the makerspace and computer area, and the other class was in the reference area. So that was 5 periods. There are 9 periods in a day. So during my lunch, I didn't have anyone in. But during the off periods where the kids came in during their lunch or the study hall, the makerspace was open. So it may not be a program that I'm running at that time, but the space is open for them to use. If they want to do some low-tech making, they can go over to the roller beads. They can ask me for a glue gun. I went and I got that glue gun. I have all the cardboard sitting here. So they can do that. Sometimes I'll have stations. I might, if I know that I'm going to have the space for, like, I wouldn't put up stations right now because the kids constantly coming in and out. But other times when we're not doing research, I might put up stations. So here's a station for perla beads. Here's a station for robots. Here's a station for making those Minecraft mosaics. I might put them around. It's kind of like what I make. I try to optimize the time that I have. Make sense?
Yes.
There's no one set schedule. I would love to have 2 librarians who wouldn't, and have the 2 areas of the library where one is making and one is research, but that's not happening. There's only one of me. So I have to do what's practical and doable. And if that means that for a week, there's no making going on 9th period, then that's what I have to do. Research has to come first.
Yes.
We can't just, choose what we want to do and say, oh, makerspace is the hottest trend right now. Yeah, it is. But you know what? We have an obligation to our kids to get the great book in their hands and to help them with their research. That is our focus as well.
Other questions, comments, guys?
You have great energy.
Thank you. And and you guys, so you know, what grades do you go?
I'm middle school.
We've got 3 middle school folks from New Hanover County here. The rest are elementary, and then Pender County, where are y'all?
Elementary.
All elementary. So,
I do have a question for you.
yeah, go for it.
Like elementary wise, just getting your opinion, do you ever in middle school like plan with the teacher with something that connects with what they're doing in the classroom with your makerspaces?
I was a little, I couldn't hear that.
Oh, sorry. So do you ever plan with your teachers with what you're doing with your makerspaces? Or is it just like what you're doing?
I would love to plan more. Who would?
Right.
But I feel like here in New York, where everything's so driven with data and everything's test driven, not that they're teaching to the test, but the teachers here have the pressure to get their kids to do well in themselves, that I feel like there's not much leeway to do that. I have worked with special ed teachers. I have worked with the English language learners. Last year, I worked more with the 6th grade as a class because they had a separate off period with their teacher. It was called seminar, and the kids would come here for about a week or 2. And I love just being able to take over and do what I want to do. Like if I find a new website, I can play. I kind of like having that freedom, but I find that this year that seminar period is just scheduling wise, it's not working as well. So I might have a group of kids only for 3 periods in a day. So I have to think, okay, what's something that we can do in 3 periods with the beginning, middle, and end, that I don't feel like I'm throwing something at them and they're running out the door with only a piece. So a lot of it is when the teacher says, I'd like to come in, I have to think, well, how long are you going to be here? How many kids do you have? And what can I feel like I can offer those kids and they feel like they've gotten something out of it? A lot of it is just winging it, trying to figure out, okay, how's this going to work? I wish it was better planned. I have seen districts that have innovation classes and STEM lab. We're high poverty here. Unfortunately, we don't have that. That doesn't, that's my vision, but I'm doing what I can.
Kristina, can I add something to that? I'm just going to say here in New Hanover County, for our elementary school folks, some of the most positive and productive collaborations between the librarians and the classroom teachers that I've seen have been with the librarians and the other specials. Now, I know that we may not have any more specials next year, thank you, North Carolina General Assembly, but, your PE teacher, your art teacher, your language teachers, your band teacher, who the heck knows what they might be willing to do with you. You guys know the classroom teacher's curriculum. Even if they don't feel like they're compelled to give you time to collaborate and plan, doesn't mean that you can't find another teacher in that building that you can make a project to support what they're doing, because you know what they're doing. But look at those other teachers who might be willing and interested in collaborating with you, even though they're not core subject teachers. Because they're in the same boats that you are. They have the same kind of schedule. They're often seen as less important than the classroom teachers, and you guys can share and show some of your value by working together to show how your subjects and your time with kids support what's happening in the classrooms.
That I totally agree with that. That's wonderful, Jennifer. Yep.
And so Jennifer, that's kind of what we're doing at my elementary school. I'm at Wrightsville Beach Elementary, so we're down by the ocean, and our marine science program there, our marine science teacher has been working with 5th graders to talk about plastic trash pollution in the ocean. And so, it started with, can you help them research in the library? So we did that. And it turned into, every year she has a marine science festival, and we brainstormed some ideas to let the 5th grade kids put on that festival instead of getting adult speakers. And so At the end of this month, we will have 10 different stations, and one is a fashion show with everything made out of plastic recyclables. We have robots in another room, you know, and then we've done some traditional things. We found a little reader's theater that we turned into a play, and we, you know, we're going to showcase their research as they dress up as animals and talk about what happens to the animals if they encounter plastic trash pollution and a variety of other things. But we did work with, so the marine science teacher and I, we gathered the art teacher and the music teacher and then some parent volunteers and the kids. And so that's what we did.
Well, it sounds like a Maker Expo there. That's awesome. And what I love about it is authentic. It's not like making this out of thin air. There's a clear purpose, there are different levels, and it's interdisciplinary. That is fabulous.
Right. And today, you know, I have a very, very small library, so I had to bring things from home, but I brought different Legos and building blocks and so forth, and the kids had to brainstorm a device that would clean the ocean after having watched another guy's idea last week. And then we brought in, you know, to get buy-in from administration, I made them come judge those projects and see the value of the kids creating and how they have learned everything they have learned along the way.
You advocated for the school library without being, hey, this is a school library. You've advocated in a way that has let your achievement shine for an authentic purpose. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yay. Anything else for Kristina?
I also highly suggest the new teachers who come to your school, grab them.
Before they're tainted.
Yeah.
Well, yes, that, and also they want help. So I had a new teacher who were doing a research project, and since I taught English, and I've been a librarian, and always in middle school, I know what it looks like. And I've given her advice on this will work, this won't work, whatever. She was so thankful, and now I'll have her for years to come. So definitely, as soon as those come, try to give them an orientation, show off what you can do for them, get them right at the beginning. They want your help. They need a friendly face. Be that friendly face for them.
Awesome. Anything else, guys? Well, Kristina, thank you so much. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yes, I'm going to stop the broadcast.